Clapperboard title, Little twin girls cried, "Please help, Mama's hurt." The single dad dropped everything and ran. Dash dash. It started on a gray Saturday morning, the kind that felt heavy even before the rain began. The clouds hung low over Maplewood, a quiet American town where the streets were lined with old oaks and the people mostly kept to themselves. Ethan Cole, a 34-year-old single dad, was standing by his pickup truck, trying to fix the stubborn engine before heading to his weekend job. He wasn't rich, not even close. But he was proud of the small life he had built after losing nearly everything. His wife had left when their son, Noah, was only 3. Since then, Ethan had been both father and mother, working long hours as a carpenter, taking care of homework, burnt dinners, and bedtime stories. He thought this morning would be just another hard day. Until he heard it. A sound that cut through the drizzle, screaming. High-pitched. Panicked. "Help. Please help. Mama's hurt." 2 tiny voices. Ethan froze, his wrench clattering to the ground. He turned toward the road that curved around the woods behind his house, and that's when he saw them. 2 little girls, maybe 5 or 6 years old, identical down to their pigtails, their clothes soaked from the rain. They were barefoot, trembling, and clutching each other's hands as they ran toward him. "Please!" one cried, her voice breaking. "Mama fell. She won't wake up." Without a thought, Ethan dropped everything and sprinted toward them. "Where is she?" he shouted, his heart pounding. "By the old bridge." The other twin gasped. "She slipped." Ethan didn't even lock his truck. He just scooped both girls into his arms and ran. The rain had picked up now, and the dirt path turned to slippery mud beneath his boots. The girls guided him through the woods, their small arms around his neck, sobbing into his shirt. When they reached the old wooden bridge, Ethan saw her, a woman lying near the creek bed, one leg twisted unnaturally, her face pale. The current lapped dangerously close to her. He waded in without hesitation. "Ma'am, can you hear me?" he called out, kneeling beside her. No response, just shallow, shaky breaths. He checked her pulse, faint but there. Relief flooded through him. "Hey, it's okay," he murmured. "You're gonna be all right. I'm gonna get you out of here." The girls were crying harder now, clutching each other. "Mama, please wake up." Ethan looked at them and something inside him cracked open. He saw Noah in their eyes. He saw fear, the kind only a child knows when their whole world is breaking. He tore off his jacket, wrapped it around the woman, and used his shirt to bandage a bleeding cut on her forehead. Then he lifted her gently but firmly, carrying her through the mud as the rain poured down. By the time they reached the road, Ethan's arms were burning and his breath came in gasps. But he didn't stop until he laid her down near his truck. He covered her with blankets and called 911. The twins clung to him, trembling. "Is Mama gonna die?" one whispered. Ethan shook his head, even though his voice was tight. "Not on my watch, sweetheart." Dash dash. Minutes later, the ambulance arrived. The paramedics worked fast, loading the woman Grace Turner onto a stretcher. One of them asked, "You family?" Ethan hesitated. "No. Just someone who heard them call." The medic nodded, impressed. "Well, you might ve just saved her life." The girls rode in the ambulance, holding their mother's hand. Before the doors closed, one of them looked at Ethan through tears. "Thank you, mister." Ethan managed a faint smile. "Take care of your mama." When the ambulance drove away, he stood there in the rain, soaked and shaking, wondering what had just happened. That night, he sat at home, staring at Noah asleep on the couch. The boy had been scared when his dad came home muddy and silent. Ethan had said only one thing: someone needed help. And for the first time in a long while, Ethan felt something inside him shift, like maybe the world wasn't just about surviving. Maybe it was about showing up when someone else couldn't. 3 days later, there was a knock at his door. When Ethan opened it, he froze. Grace Turner stood there, pale, bandaged, leaning on crutches with her twin daughters holding her hands. "Mr. Cole," she said softly. I wanted to thank you. The doctors said if you hadn't found us when you did." She swallowed hard. "I might not be here." Ethan felt awkward. "You don't need to thank me. Anyone would be done the same." Grace smiled gently. "Maybe. But no one else did." The twins darted forward, hugging his legs tightly. "You're our hero," one of them said. Ethan laughed, his throat tightening. "Hero's a big word, kiddo. I just ran fast." Grace chuckled weakly. "Well, we'd still like to do something for you. At least a thank you dinner." He wanted to refuse. He really did. But the sincerity in her eyes and the excitement in the twins' faces melted his hesitation. "All right," he said finally. "Dinner sounds nice." A week later, Ethan found himself sitting at Grace's kitchen table. The house was small but full of warmth, drawings on the fridge, the smell of homemade soup, and two little girls giggling over spilled juice. He learned Grace was a nurse, recently widowed. She'd been taking her daughters on a weekend picnic when she slipped near the bridge. She'd been barely conscious when they ran for help. As she spoke, Ethan noticed how tired her eyes were, not just from pain, but from trying to hold her world together. He recognized it. The exhaustion of a single parent trying to be everything. Over the weeks that followed, their paths kept crossing: coffee drop-offs, grocery store run-ins, small-town coincidences that started to feel less like accidents. Grace insisted on helping fix his truck one weekend. He teased her, saying nurses shouldn't mess with engines. She teased back that carpenters shouldn't play hero in the rain. The twins and Noah became inseparable. Laughter filled Ethan's house again, louder than it had in years. But life has a way of testing the heart. One evening, as Ethan and Grace walked the kids home from the fair, the twins ran ahead straight into the street, chasing a balloon. A car came around the corner too fast. Ethan didn't think, he just ran. He yanked the girls back seconds before the car screeched past, missing them by inches. Grace screamed, the balloon popped, and the world went silent except for the pounding of hearts. He hugged the twins close, trembling. "You're okay. You're safe," he whispered. Grace was crying when she reached them, pulling them all into her arms. "You saved us again," she said. But this time, Ethan shook his head. "No, you all saved me." She frowned. "What do you mean?" He looked at her, eyes wet. "After my wife left, I didn't think I had anything left to give. Then your girls came running to me that day, and for the first time in years, I didn't feel useless. I felt needed." Grace touched his hand. "You were. You are. Months passed. Seasons changed. What began as a moment of chaos turned into a quiet, steady bond, two families healing each other, little by little. Ethan and Grace never rushed anything. But one evening, as they sat watching the kids chase fireflies in the yard, Grace leaned against his shoulder and whispered, "You really did save us, Ethan." He smiled faintly. "Maybe we saved each other." Sunrise Epilogue. A year later, the small town gathered at the local park for a charity event. Grace had helped organize it, raising funds for a new children's clinic near the bridge where everything had started. Ethan was there, helping set up wooden benches with Noah. The twins handed out lemonade, their laughter echoing across the green. When the mayor asked Grace to speak, she took the microphone and said, "Last year, a stranger ran through the rain to save me and my girls. He didn't know our names, our story, or what it would cost him. He just cared. That moment changed everything. Today, this clinic stands as a reminder that kindness is never small, and one person's courage can change many lives." As the crowd applauded, Grace looked at Ethan, tears shining in her eyes. Ethan smiled back, holding Noah's shoulder. He didn't need a medal or applause. He had something better: family, in all the unexpected ways it could form. And as the sun dipped behind the trees, painting Maplewood in gold, Ethan thought of that rainy day, the cries for help, the muddy road, the fear, and how it led to this quiet miracle of second chances. Sometimes, he realized, heroes aren't the ones who go looking to save the world. They're the ones who just run when someone calls for help.